Welcome to today's training from NEDARC regarding mail merge. This presentation was taught at our recent Communicating Your Performance Measure Results workshop, which was in California. It was already stated this session is regarding mail merge, but the steps contained in here are specifically for if you want to send an emailed mail merge, and they're demonstrated in a PowerPoint to save you from accidentally sending out a whole bunch of emails. Also note that all of these instructions are also included in the manual used at the workshop, which you can download from our website. So the very first thing, just to be safe, is if you're actually doing this on your computer, is to close your email account. And once again, this is to save you from sending out emails before you're ready to send them. The next step is to go ahead and open up the template letter. In this case, we provided templates for the workshop attendees, and we have one called Availability Protocols Template. You can get a copy of these templated letters from your NEDARC Technical Assistance Representative if you want to use them as well. And this letter specifically is addressed to all of your respondents who indicated they had protocols, but the protocols were carried less than 90% of the time, either on the vehicles or on the providers. The next thing you need to do is go ahead, once you open up that document, and edit all of the manual program manager fields. And in your manuals, you'll see that that's any of the red fields. The next thing you want to do is go ahead and save that file after you've done all those changes. And now we're ready to begin the actual steps for the email mail merge. So the first thing you need to do is go to the Mailings tab located on the ribbon and select the Start Mail Merge. Then the next thing I will do is select Email Messages from the drop-down, and it'll be ready and it'll open up to be an email mail merge. You might have noticed that the NEDARC went away, and that's because I was using a letterhead, and any images or information located in your headers or footers, if you're using letterhead, will go away once you go into email mail merge. You can fix this though by adding in a logo in the body of your letter if you want it to have that information, or you can just leave it as you currently see it. The next step is to go to the Mailings tab, and you click on the down arrow for the Select Recipients. Then you choose the Use Existing List, and you navigate to your spreadsheet that has the list of all of the respondents to your performance measure. So we are using a practice data set, and you'll see here that what happens is after I select my spreadsheet, a Select Table dialog box opens up in it, and it lists all of the worksheets in that spreadsheet. You will want to choose the one that has all of your cleaned data in it. And then also at the bottom there is a checkbox, and it says first row of data contains column headers, and since all of our data sets have those column headers, make sure that that is checked. And the next step is to select OK, and then you go back to the Mailings tab located on the ribbon, and you select the Edit Recipient List. From there, a Mail Merge Recipients dialog box will open up, and since we only want to send letters to those who had it less than 90%, we're going to use the filter option. So go ahead and click on the filter option, and then from there a filter and sort dialog box opens up, and it will actually be blank. I have this filled in to show you. So when you look at your data dictionary, which was provided to you in previous emails from your NEDARC Technical Assistance Liaison, you can see that the question related to essentially the availability of the protocols on the vehicles and or the provider was offline available. You will also notice in the data dictionary that there were several options that a respondent could choose from. however, only 3 of which equated to less than 90%. So that is why we have 3 offline availables here, and I could choose those from the drop down arrow. And then I would choose equals to for each one of those. And then also in the far left hand side, you might see that there's some ors, and I changed the default and to or. And the reason we would use or instead of and is because they could only select one of those options. If you forget to change the and to an or, what you're saying is, I want a respondent who said checked these 3, but they cannot check 3, so you would come up with 0. So the options that are available that are less than 90% are rarely, never, and often. You can put these in any order in the compare to, but you need to list all 3. And then I select OK, and it takes me back to the mail merge recipients dialog box, and I will go ahead and select OK there. And then I'm ready to start inserting my merge fields. So the first thing I need to do is select the variable that I need merged in. And as you can see here, it's agency in the case of this template letter. So I go ahead and highlight that. And then on the Mailings tab, I go to the Insert Merge field and click on the down arrow. And then I go to the variable associated with agency. And in the templated letters, we bracketed out and highlighted the variables you'll need to insert or mail merge in, and we called it the same exact thing as the variable from your data set, so it'll have a one-to-one match. Then you'll notice that after I've selected agency from that drop-down list, the agency changes and it's no longer bracketed. Instead, it looks like it has less than and greater than symbols on either side of the word. So this is indicating to me that this is a field that is mail merged. And all the others still have brackets. So the next step I want to do is go ahead and change each of those additional fields and mail merge in the appropriate variable. As you can see here, they're all changed, and I know that because they have the greater than and less than symbols on either side. Then after that, I'm going to go ahead and remove the highlight, because the highlight was only so that you could easily find those variables. And then once I do that, I want to preview my results. So I'll go to the Mailings tab located on the ribbon and click on Preview Results. And this is just to make sure that everything is okay. Especially because, you know, with a click of a button on email, it's sent before you know it. So to be able to then preview all of my letters, there's some arrows to the right of that, and by clicking on those I can navigate among my letters. And the letters will only be going to those respondent agencies who indicated that they have the protocols less than 90% on the vehicles or the providers. You'll also notice in the center between those arrows there's a box with a number in it, and that number will change depending on which letter I'm in. So I'll know when I'm at the very end of the letters I can't go any further forward, and I'll see what number it is. So keep that in mind about the numbers for some later steps. So then after I've decided, yep, I'm ready to go, I've previewed, they look great, I'm ready to send, I go back to the Mailings tab, or actually stay there, and I click on the down arrow for the Finish and Merge. And then I choose the Send Email Messages. Remember, I only choose this if I've previewed and I think everything's great and they're ready to go. So once I click on that, a Merge to Email dialog box opens up, and then there's several fields I have to work with in there. The first field is the To field, and Microsoft is smart enough, since I'm linking to an Excel spreadsheet and I chose email mail merge, it knows that the To wants to go to a variable associated with email addresses. In the case of our performance measures, we only have one variable that has email addresses in it, so it automatically went to that one. However, if we've inserted additional columns with additional email addresses, maybe CCs, or we're working with a different data set that has multiple, you'll want to check this and make sure you have the correct email address variable assigned in that too. The next field is the subject line. And your subject line, when you open up your merge to email dialog box, will actually be empty. I typed in a descriptive subject line here just for demonstration purposes for you. You'll want it to be descriptive about the content of your email. As you know, all emails should have a subject line so that people are able to prioritize. One thing I would like to urge you to do is to not include the word survey, because often emails with the word survey in the subject line can be tagged as spam and end up in the junk mail or not even get through, depending on their firewall. Another field is the mail format field, and the default is HTML. And if I click on the drop down arrow, I'll see that I have some other options, which is text. So text is simply that. It's plain. I can't do any formatting. HTML is the one I can do formatting, insert pictures, different things like that. So I have to keep in mind what type of email I have, as well as the people I'm sending emails to. If they have plain text, I will likely want to change this to text. So after getting your message options set up, you're going to have to think about your sending options. And if I've looked through and I'm like, these are all great and they're ready, I would choose all. However, if I only wanted to send one out of the entire group, I would navigate to that one letter or record, whatever you want to refer to it as, and I would make sure I select current record, and it will only send that one in which I'm viewing. And your final option is from and to, and this is actually a range. So remember in the preview when I had talked about the numbers listed in the preview, so you can see if you decide you only want to send letters to maybe letter recipients 1 through 5, you would put 1 to 5 here. And then I'm ready and I click OK. And voila,
You got mail.
all of the emails go out. So that's why we want to demonstrate here, especially if you're working with a practice data set or your letters truly aren't ready. We didn't want you to accidentally send a bunch of emails before you're prepared. So at this step we usually say save, but in this case do not save your file. And the reason I say that is because you've now linked it to the Excel file and you've set it up as email, so it's going to be read as though it's a SQL Server type file. And if you need to resend later on or make some edits, you will not be able to do it. You would have to start all over. So that's why we say do not save the file at this point. Instead, close that file, like I said, without saving it, and check your email sent folder, and you'll be able to see each individual email. And what's great about using mail merge is each of those letters is personalized, so it makes the respondents feel like a bigger social contract has been created between you, the EMSC program manager, as well as with them. Thank you, and that concludes our demonstration today.